What's up, happy fabricators? In this video, we're going to be building a DIY friendly 2 by 48 inch belt grinder with the remaining components from our table saw welding table. Now, there are multiple different companies out there that build very good belt grinders, but the biggest hurdle for a beginner is usually the price. These belt grinders in the 2 by 48 inch range usually start from $400 to $600, and for the beginner that can be very intimidating or just not even feasible to start out with. So with the help of a couple affordable parts and the remaining components from our table build, we're gonna get you grinding and slinging sparks. Okay, so I really like the way this thing turned out. I might be biased, but I think it's a great little belt sander. You can pick it up, move it around. It's still pretty heavy. I think it probably weighs about 45 pounds-ish because that motor is not light. But for the most part, we were able to reuse and construct it with the remaining parts from our welding table build, which was our Model 13 Craftsman table saw. So I know the burning question in everybody's mind is how much did it actually cost? So the only thing that I personally had to purchase was the roller and bearing kit, which is all these guys here, 4 pulleys and bearings. That kit cost me $65 on Amazon. Now I've seen it on eBay a couple places, and I'm sure there's other places you can get it. I'll leave a link down in the description for that. That is the only thing that I personally had to purchase. The other things were either laying around the shop or they were remnants of the table saw. So what we used from the table saw, obviously we used the motor, we used the wiring, so we have all our switches already contained. We don't have to do any wiring, which is really nice. We just bolted it on here and turn it on, you're ready to go. You don't have to wire anything up. I did have to reverse the motor, but that's pretty simple. You can look up how to do that. There's actually instructions under the cover on how to do that. The other thing we used from the table saw was this whole mechanism up here, or at least for the most part, the handle, the spring, the bolt, everything there was left over from the table saw assembly. The primary frame that this thing is constructed from, this 1/4 inch by 1.5 inch angle iron, was all left over from the table saw. And some of the other random hardware, the hardware that's holding the motor down. The other stuff that did not come from the table saw are things that you could really use from things laying around. I ended up using some 1x1 square tubing to mount the motor plate to. You could use some more angle iron or take your pick on that. So in total I used probably about 2.5 feet of that 1x1 square. I think it was roughly an 1/8 inch or 3 mil wall. I used a trampoline spring, which everybody's got a dead trampoline in their backyard or in the junkyard. If not, it doesn't have to be a trampoline spring. It could just be any extension spring pretty much. The whole pivot mechanism for the idler is made entirely of 1/2-13 nuts. Some of them are through drilled so that it can pivot on it, and then some are still utilizing the threads. And then our lever arm back here was just made from a scrap piece of 3/8 steel. It was like a tapered triangle piece that I had sitting in the scrap barrel, and I picked it up and was like, oh, this will work. And I think that's pretty much it. Like I said, you don't necessarily have to use these exact materials. It's just kind of what I had laying around. And that's one of the reasons I really enjoy making these types of videos. I just want to encourage you guys to think outside the box, figure out what your resources are, and how you can utilize them to build a useful thing for yourself to grow or build something for someone else. But nonetheless, I think this is going to be a very useful tool in my shop. Let me know if you think we should do a part 2 video on this belt sander. I have some ideas. We still have parts left over from our table saw, and I have some ideas on things that we can add to this. Maybe a dust tray, maybe we can make an attachment or buy some smaller mandrels that we can make this thing transform, because we have lots of slots and holes to work with here. Maybe we can make this thing transform into a tubing notcher. So if you think that's something you want to see as a part 2 on this build, let me know down in the comments. Otherwise, guys, I really appreciate all the feedback. It's great to see the channel grow. We're creeping up on 17,000 subscribers, and that is because of you guys. The biggest thing that you guys can do to help the channel grow is to share and hit that like button so the algorithm knows that you enjoy these videos. If you want to see more fabrication content, click some of the links that are going to pop up here. If you want to be notified of upcoming videos, hit that subscribe button and ring the little bell. It's free to do so, and go build something.